Are you kidding me or are you joking me? Oh my goodness, guys, look at that Virgin Galactic stock. Oh my word, ticker symbol SPCE, otherwise known as space. And oh my goodness, guys, this stock just flew to outer space today, up over 23% here today alone, up $7.05. And if that was not enough, the stock is even going up after hours, another almost 4% in after hours trading. Unbelievable day for this Virgin Galactic stock. And if you have not been keeping track, this stock has been doing ridiculously well. Well, that might just not be like heavy enough. How about ridiculously well? We're talking about this stock has gone a 5x, has over a 5x in a little over 2 months, guys. A little over 2 months and the stock is over 5x. I mean, 5x, that's the type of performance you could expect from a great stock over a 5 or 10 year span, not a 2 to 2.5 month span. Like, that's absolutely incredible, guys. Absolutely incredible. And I mean, to give you some reference, I know a lot of people, talk about Tesla's, had some ridiculous run over the last, let's say 2.5 months or so. And it has. Tesla stock's almost 3x in the last 2.5 months. But keep in mind, let's go back and look at that Virgin Galactic Holdings chart. It's literally 5x in just over 2 months, guys. That's absolutely incredible. By the way, if you don't know Virgin Galactic, just think of it as a space-related company, okay? And this is a company that has investors such as Richard Branson, okay? Obviously, Kamoth is involved heavily with this company, which many of you guys like as a venture capitalist out there, okay? Now, there's something that he kind of said, a while back when they were thinking about taking Virgin Galactic public, okay? He says, if we are lucky to have the same trajectory and same customer love, I think we could all look back and say we've done something absolutely fantastic in human technology. And he was trying to say, basically he was looking for a lot of like Tesla-like investors into Virgin Galactic. And I gotta say, you can't group all of us Tesla investors in the same group, okay? There's some people that have been in Tesla stock since 2010, since there was just the hope of Tesla becoming a successful company where they really didn't have much going for them at all. There was just the hope. And I'll be honest, that's probably less than 1% of the Tesla shareholders out there that are holding shares today who are actually involved with this stock back in 2010, back when they did the IPO, when it was just the hope of a business model. Most of us jumped on either around the time Model 3 came out or shortly after Model 3. And I know that was the game-changing product for me personally and why I got involved with this stock. So don't just group all of us Tesla shareholders together like we were all there since day one in 2010 when it was just a hope of a business model, because much of us weren't, okay? And a lot of people are loving to compare Tesla right now to, Virgin Galactic, this other company. And you look at an article like this out of CNBC today, okay? It says, forget Tesla. Wall Street has found a new favorite speculative stock as Virgin Galactic surges 23%. And I take major issue to that headline right there, okay? Well, I mean, why would they put Tesla in the same sentence as a speculative stock? And it just kind of shows you how uninformed like CNBC still is at this particular time. Just say, oh, Tesla is a speculative stock. Let's put in the same sentence as speculative stock, same sentence as Virgin Galactic, while Tesla's out here about to do $30 billion plus in revenue this year. 30 billion plus. Virgin Galactic, no disrespect to them, but they might do less than $7 million in 2020 in revenue. These are not stocks that should be mentioned in the same sentence, okay? Virgin Galactic trades at a sky-high, no pun intended, price-to-sales ratio of 1,098, possibly the highest price-to-sales ratio I have ever seen in my entire, 11 or 12 years that I've been investing in the stock market. I don't believe I've ever seen a 1,598 price-to-sales ratio, okay? While Tesla has a 6.7 price-to-sales ratios. CNBC, this is why some of us get so frustrated with you. If you want to write an article about Virgin Galactic, write an article about Virgin Galactic and say it's, Wall Street's new favorite, speculative stock. That's perfectly fine, but don't incorporate Tesla into the argument like Tesla's some speculative stock when they're about to do $30+ billion in revenue in 2020. It's just ridiculous, okay? So Michael over there and Kate, you know what? We're putting you guys in a timeout. You guys got to go to timeout. You just go to timeout for a while, study up on Tesla. Don't put them in the same sentence, please, as a speculative stock. That's absolutely ridiculous, okay? And so Virgin Galactic here is a stock sitting at a little over $37 here today, and we all understand this is a very speculative stock, okay? There's no business model there as of right now, but there's a hope that maybe this could be a big business model in the future, and we're going to talk a little bit about this one, why it continues to go up, what's the hope. And I've done a lot of kind of research into this company over the last few days, and a lot of looking at the comments of like the Financial Education 2 video I came out with basically last week called Is It Too Late to Buy Virgin Galactic Stock? In that video, I talk about if it's too late to buy a stock. I just talk a little bit about it, and I read through a lot of the comments, and what I found was there were two cases why somebody was actually invested in this stock, okay? The first one was a lot of people were involved with because this is a hot sauce stock, okay? This is a hot sauce stock right now. It is going up and up, and you have a lot of swing traders that try to get involved when a stock continues to climb higher and higher, and they look at space and it has the hype right now and the hysteria around this, and they're like, let's play this as a swing trade. And so I saw a lot of comments where people are like, I bought in recently, this is a swing trade for me, this is something I'm going to ride this until the roller coaster's over. Whenever the stock pulls back, blah, blah, blah percent, whatever number they were kind of looking at, whatever metric they were looking at, they're like, then I'll go ahead, I'll sell out, take my profits. And respect, I understand, not everybody that watches my YouTube channel is going to, do the exact same things I do and like think about a company next 3 to 5 years. Some people just like to try to, swing trade around some of these stocks, and they look at an opportunity here like Virgin Galactic stock, and they're looking at this and they're like, some of them got in and when it was 15 after it made a big run, some got in when it was 12, some got in recently when it was in the 20 range, and they're like, dude, if I can make 20% or 30% in a few weeks trying to ride the stock, I'm going to go ahead and do that. And if you're one of those people that tries to, do that, then, that's perfectly fine. You do whatever you want to do. I like to invest the way I like to invest, but if you're going to try to, trade this in and out, and that's a route you want to go, it's fair play. And I understand that's what some people are doing that are involved in the stock. And I saw a lot of comments while I went through that video on basically people talking about, they're kind of treating it as a swing trade. And the other group of individuals that I saw in the stock were more of what I would call investors, thinking about this for years out, and they were actually in this for the big long-term story here, which is space travel, obviously. This is what the company is going to focus on at first, space travel, and trying to make, space travel like a big thing, people do. And obviously, certainly for the first few years, if not, a long time in the future, if they can, be successful at space travel, that still remains to be seen. We got to see, if they can, do this essentially. They still got to prove that. Everybody's like, writing in stone, like, oh yeah, they're just going to be able to do this. They still got to prove they can do that. Then they have to build a business model around space travel, which is going to be, the ticket's going to be very expensive. Could be looking at, $250,000. I mean, even if it was $100,000, that's still insanely expensive, for a ride that might be, 10 minutes or something like that. But this is a company that's focused on space travel. Some folks are looking at that. Other folks are looking at the component of, well, what if they're able to build, like let's say, some type of aircraft or spaceship or something like that that can fly you from New York to Hong Kong in an hour or two. So some folks are thinking about that because obviously you look at a flight time from like New York to Hong Kong, you're looking at like 16 hours, right? And so imagine if you can fly from one destination in the world that, usually would take, let's say, 15 to 20 hours to fly there. What if you could fly there in one of their aircrafts and do it in a much shorter time? So some folks are thinking maybe this could be a play on that over time where you could essentially take a 16-hour flight and put it down to an hour or two. And so that's where a lot of folks are kind of at with this stock. And now the last component of some folks I saw that were invested in the stock is some people are kind of playing this as, basically SpaceX is supposed to have an IPO for their Starlink side of their business at some point in time, possibly very soon. And so some folks are looking at this and they're like, hey, you know what? I'm thinking that there's going to be a lot of hype that builds going into that Starlink. So I want to be involved in the space category in some way or form. And this is really the only direct play on space stocks as of right now. So before, that hype starts around Starlink, I'm going to be involved with this one. Maybe the hype can continue to build. Maybe the investor appetite for space stocks continues to climb. And this is the only direct play as of right now. And if it's only direct play, then if you want to put money in the space category, you got to put it in Virgin Virgin Galactic stock, okay? Once again, Musk SpaceX plans a spinoff IPO for the Starlink business. This just came out February 6th of 2020, so there's a very high probability that we'll get some type of IPO in the public markets for the Starlink business at some point here in 2020. And you see this sometimes in the stock market where essentially, there's an exciting industry over here and maybe there's only one player in town. And so if people are looking at this and they're like thinking, I want to invest in that industry, this thing that's going to become a big thing in the future, and there's only one name, then everybody has to crowd into that. And as everybody continues to crowd into that play, what ends up happening to the stock price? It goes up and up and up. The stock market is no different than anything else in the business world. It's supply and demand. If there's a ton of demand for shares of a particular, sector or something like that, and there's only one player, that's what's going to happen. The price is going to go up. Now, since a lot of folks love to compare this Virgin Galactic versus Tesla and whatnot, okay, you really can't compare these two companies in terms of their stages right now. But if you want to look back in time, then we can look back to when's the last time Tesla really had no business model and there was the hope that Tesla was going to have a business model sometime in the future. You have to go back to 2010, before the Model S, okay? And there was really no business model there. There was a hope that maybe down the road Tesla could be a big electric vehicle player. So what I have on your screen right now, this shows you Tesla's market capitalization over time. And so what we're going to find here is back in 2010, Tesla's market capitalization was around $1.6 billion, okay? Around $1.6 billion. That's back when Tesla had, once again, had like basically no business model, and there was just the hope that someday this could be something big, okay? Now here we are with Virgin Galactic. It's in somewhat of a similar situation where there's no business model there for Virgin Galactic right now. There's the hope that they could have big business models, space travel, maybe, flights down the road that obviously we talked about that could, shrink the amount of time it takes, things like that. And so there's a hope that there could be those things, but none of those are concrete as of now. None of those are proven as of right now. There's just a hope that there could be big businesses there long term. And right now on Virgin Galactic, we're looking at a market capitalization on this company of $7.25 billion, which is obviously dramatically higher than where Tesla was at. But keep in mind, let's go back to that Tesla market cap chart there, right? That's 2010. It had that 1.6 billion. That was right after the Great Recession. A lot of people did not want to take a big risk in some, electric startup that, might be the next big thing, but who knows, might be bankrupt in a few years. A lot of investors did not want to have to take that type of risk. They just didn't at the end of the day, okay? And I remember I looked into Tesla back in, probably it was like 2011, 2012, somewhere around there. And even I looked at it and I was like, I don't think I want to take that risk. It wasn't until after Model 3 that I really got intrigued with this business, and the stock hadn't moved in a while. I was like, okay, now it's worth, okay? But here we are, 2020, the $7.25 billion market capitalization here I'm showing you on Virgin Galactic, and a lot of folks are willing to take that type of risk in this name, and it is what it is. We'll have to see where this one trades out for the remainder of the year. I'm very skeptical on what's going to happen here because you are essentially placing a very big bet with a very big market cap now that, everything's going to kind of work out for this company. It's going to become a big player in space travel tourism and maybe flights in the future and all those sorts of things. And sitting at a market capitalization like that, they're going to have some massive, ridiculous growth for the next 5 to 10 years just to justify this initial valuation. Never mind, whatever the valuation comes down the road. But I will say I'm happy for all the folks that have made a lot of money in this. I was in the Discord chat earlier, and my goodness, there's been some people that have played some call options around Virgin Galactic and just bought the stock straight up that have made a ton of money. I'm not going to mention any names, but one gentleman in the group, he has made so much on his space options. And by the way, he showed me screenshots, so it's confirmed. It's not like he's just trying to talk himself up. One guy had bought so many call options. He's made so much money on the Virgin Galactic that literally he could pay for this new Porsche he got literally cash. I wish he would have got a Tesla. Like, come on, man. Can't go get in a Porsche. Got to get a Tesla. But needless to say, guys, it's a very intriguing one. I'm going to continue to watch this stock and see how it plays out and see if it continues to skyrocket. And next thing you know, it has over a $10 billion market cap, or if this one comes back down to earth. It is one of those type of stocks that ends up getting cut in half or cut by 75% in a very quick amount of time. Sometimes, it just depends how all this shakes out. I remember the 3D stocks many years ago. I remember I was living in Charlotte, North Carolina. The 3D stocks got incredibly hot for a certain amount of time, and they all climbed and climbed and climbed, and it was just like, oh my gosh, this could be the next big thing, 3D printing. Obviously, that fell. You had the MJ space, this was just a couple of years ago. The MJ space was flying up. It was like Canada was going to legalize things, and the MJ space has just gotten absolutely destroyed over the last, year. If you look at those stock charts on almost any MJ stock, the little ones and also the big ones, what you're going to find is most of them have crashed huge. Now, we'll see what happens with Virgin Galactic, but they're definitely going to have to prove a lot over the next few years to justify the current valuation on that one, guys. But I would love to hear your information down there in that comment section, what you think is going to happen with the stock in the short term, let's say over the next month or so, and what you think is going to happen with the stock over, let's say, the longer term, like 1, 2, 3, 4 years out. I would love to hear from you guys in that comment section. As always, smash the thumbs up if you enjoyed today's video. As always, thank you for watching and have a great day.